Adani, Adani, Adani. Oh God, Rahul Gandhi has no other work except see to it what Adani is doing, what Adani is not doing, and concoct stories against Adani all the time. So we have Sai Kiran with us. He's an independent journalist. Hi, Sai.
Hi, Payal.
Thank you for taking out time, and it was a last minute notice, but still, thank you for joining me here. So, Sai, you tell us what is this Adani thing? What is it? Just because winter session is around the corner, that's why Rahul Gandhi is doing this?
The timing is not something that Rahul Gandhi has chosen. So sorry.
No, no, it's okay.
Yeah, so the timing is not something that Rahul Gandhi has chosen. This is something that's come from the SEC and the American authorities, obviously. And there is a sense of urgency in many things that America is doing currently because Joe Biden is just wrapping up things and he's going to hand over things officially to Donald Trump. So if you see from the Ukraine perspective, you can see that there's been some additional escalation out there where America is basically given the go ahead for Ukraine to launch the missiles and stuff. So the escalation is happening on that front. Same thing with the Middle East as well. And so this thing SEC, interestingly, from 2022 they've been having the details that they've collected. So some could say that the timing is a bit surprising, but if you play the devil's advocate, you would say the timing would have been even more perfect had it been just before the Lok Sabha elections, right?
Yeah,
So that didn't happen. And even the Maharashtra elections is also over, which is a very critical state election in the Indian standpoint,
true.
right? So yeah, I mean, they could have different reasons for this. Uh, but in terms of the allegations, again, we would be very careful to call it just allegations for now, right? Because Adani has just released a statement that they are also denying any of these things that have happened, and they are happy to follow the due procedure when it comes to the legal ramifications. But yeah, it's clearly the allegations, and SEC themselves have said that until proven otherwise, they're just accused for now. They're not guilty as of now. So yeah, that's my point of view in terms of the timing.
Okay. Now you tell me one thing. Is it like just because Adani promised Trump some 15,000 jobs or something in America, US for, so is it something related to that also, or like it's just that Rahul Gandhi doesn't want that Waqf? Modi government has promised us the voters that they'll be presenting the Waqf bill, Waqf board bill. So is it something to do with that that they don't want that discussion to happen?
So there are two parts to this. I will say, like Rahul Gandhi criticizing Adani is one.
Mm.
Adani doing business with every other Congress state government is another, right?
Mm.
So very conspicuously, Rahul Gandhi off late has stopped mentioning Ambani. Before it used to be Adani and Ambani, but for some reason he stopped, referring to Ambani most of
Amba.
the times right now. So that's one very interesting thing. Secondly, you always need a punching bag. You know, so I think for now, the RSS, the Hindutva thing has grown old, probably because Modi has come back for the third time. Even though there are issues between the left wing and the right wing, I think right now, I think the punching bag for Rahul Gandhi is Adani. Again, there also I'll make a distinction that uh, in terms of the allegations that have been thrown here, as well as in the past with regards to the Hindenburg expose,
Mm.
we'll have to see the case based on the merits and demerits. There's yes, Adani, is a large Indian conglomerate. It's a very important firm that provides jobs to thousands of people. They're involved in building of shipping ports. They're involved in defense deals, etc., etc. But again, as a responsible Indian, all of us will have to understand that there could be merits and demerits for any case, especially when it involves large corporates, right? So that specific thing, aside from SEC, cannot uh, do more when it comes to Adani. bribing local Indian government officials. It's just that this exposure has come out because Adani had to declare to gain investments from the American capital markets that they have never bribed anyone, and that's when certain documents surfaced and SEC got hold of it, and then they went into the details, right? But other than that, there's nothing that Adani has done in terms of bribing American officials. So it's completely an Indian issue here.
Okay.
Whether Adani has indeed doled out these bribes to the different state governments involved, be it Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Chhattisgarh, or any of them, that is something that the Indian government has to decide, and along with the SECI, right? So that is what the Indian government has to do. They probably can do a just investigation of their own and find that out. But Adani being this trump card that Rahul Gandhi tries to use, it's a bit farcical in the sense that it's very easy for him to do his own investigation amongst the state governments that Congress represents and say that we are clean. But that will never happen. Even today, it was a very interesting thing that I saw in the press conference that one of the journalists posed these questions that BJP has alleged that what about the
Yeah.
non-BJP states? What about the India alliance states? For which it would have been very easy for him to directly address the issue, but he took 2 full minutes in terming that journalist as a BJP stooge or something. He kept think probably he needed a couple of minutes to think what his response was going to be. So he kept doing that, and then he finally says that wherever corruption is, we'll have to weed it out. But that's your very state. That's your own state government, right? So I don't understand. And these were the same people who were vying to team up with Naveen Patnaik before the elections, and it didn't happen. And then Chhattisgarh is their own state. So, and Tamil Nadu DMK had just come to power in May 2021, and then this happens a few months later. And there's a very technical thing that's going on as well. Tamil Nadu's electricity minister Senthil Balaji has just released a statement saying that we've not signed any deal with Adani in the last 3 years. But the very important thing here is, if you look at the timeline of what happened, the SECI, which is an Indian central government agency, they were ready to tie up with Adani. But then the state government controlled discoms across different states. They were not willing to because they felt that the price was too expensive. So that is the reason Adani had to bribe these state government discoms in
Oh.
order to sign the deal. So probably the deal now says that they have signed a deal with the SECI, which is an Indian central government agency.
Mm.
But the key point is the SEC investigations is not saying that SECI alone acted in this, bribery case, right? It's more to do with the state governments firstly, not being ready to sign an agreement with Adani, but then post this exchange of bribe, they've eventually signed this deal with the Adani Power. So probably on paper the contract is still with SECI, but there has been an exchange in bribe. So technically they can get away with saying that we've not signed anything with Adani.
Mm.
Probably the SECI has played the brokering in terms of they being the national body for this purchase of power. But the transfer of bribes have been there, and it's not that if you look at the SEC's report, it's very clear. It's not saying that all states. They've clearly mentioned and named the
Four
individual
states.
states.
Four
Yeah.
states.
And Andhra Pradesh being the biggest benefitor in terms of 1750 crores or something. And then the rest of the states put together, they have around 279 crores or something. They've basically, divided it among themselves. So I think that's also another technical point that they may try to get away with saying that we've not signed anything directly with the Adanis. But also, it's a very well known fact in the last couple of years, Tamil Nadu has gotten very cozy with Adani as well. So we recently saw Adani himself visit the chief minister's house
Yeah.
in in Chennai, and they've also signed a recent MOU that runs into thousands of crores of investment from Adani. But it's a punching bag, and we see it in many of the movies. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that we have a lot of it in the Bollywood because Bollywood movies are predominantly produced by corporates. But in the southern film industry, especially Tamil film industry, you have a lot of these movies which show the corporates as villains. So it's a very nice storyline for even the political parties to harp on to appease their vote bank, because they always show the corporates as the villains, but everyone is a corporate here, right? So
So,
but so that I feel that's why it's a very nice punching bag that Rahul Gandhi also uses for a storyline. But ultimately we saw the same thing happen during the electoral bonds. Everyone were
yeah,
clamoring that what's happening, only BJP is getting funded, etc., etc. And then we saw that from Trinamool, from DMK, from Congress, everyone were funded by
everybody
these
was
electoral
party to
bonds.
it. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
you tell me one thing, Kiran, but Rahul Gandhi has never been successful in winning elections by accusing Mr. Modi and Adani being partners in crime, or he's never won elections on this basis. You think
Yeah,
it
I
matters
think I
to
think
it
it's
matters to
I think it's
people?
because I think it's similar to what happened uh, in America, for example, this time, right? Because the it doesn't impact the average voter directly.
Yeah,
Where, and I'm in no way giving a clean sheet to Adani here. But the thing is, like I said, it depends on the merits and demerits of the case, and the respective agencies have to dig deep in and see whether there has been a transfer of bribe, right? But say, for example, yes, it has happened. The people will not understand that how it hits them, right? It doesn't impact them directly. So many of the scams that we've seen in the past, usually they're of huge sums, or they've directly impacted the lives of the common man. For example, if we take 2G into consideration, the sums were huge. It's something that
yeah,
the common man could not even comprehend, but he or she knew, okay, that's like a huge loss to the exchequer, and certainly something wrong has happened. And we also saw the ministers resigning and being jailed for that. So that ultimately proved that okay, it was a massive scam, and it impacted Congress very badly, UPA too. But here, this is actually not a scam, but this is a case of a bribery charge, right? And if you were to really think on a microscopic level how it affects, I also gave an example in my video, which I put out on my X. It's that in Tamil Nadu, for example, 22 and 23, for the year 22 and 23, there was a huge loss to the state discom. And that was despite the new DMK government coming in and even increasing the price of electricity per unit. So the consumption rates of people actually increased. But if you
sorry,
were to see,
excuse me, just so, yeah, please.
yeah, but if you were to see from a common man standpoint,
Uh,
just to improve the finances of the state discom, the price per unit, the consumption charge was raised in Tamil Nadu. But on the other hand, if it's indeed true what SEC is saying, is that they actually accepted bribes to purchase power at a much higher rate from the Adani Group, right? So this is if this is true for all the state governments, then this is a line of logical exploitation that the opposition can do to say that this is how it's directly impacting the common man's lives. But other than that, it doesn't, because we all at some level, I think every Indian knows that large corporations will always do some kind of lobbying, right? Whether within India, and I think it's such a common topic
why is
in most
America
of
so
the films
bothered
that we've
about
seen.
Adani? Why is America so bothered about Adani?
I mean, it's an interesting question, but when you want to put funds in a large corporation, I think the questions will naturally be asked, right? So imagine that there is, I mean, we've had it in the past. So imagine, I mean, long back, I think it was UPA one when Walmart and Airtel had a joint venture, but it never transpired because the local Kirana stores and everyone, they were like, our livelihood will go, etc., etc. But imagine it had happened, and imagine if Walmart had a very shady past where
Yeah,
they have a lot of irregular fundings and stuff. So then when they get listed in the Indian stock market, it's natural that someone will come up with an expose and it will impact, right? So imagine when Adani is going to the US, all these years this was never raised, but when Adani went to the American capital markets in search for funding, so then I think it's very natural that they look at the stability of the company, and whether it is something that could be subjected to liabilities in
Okay.
the future. So that's the reason when Adani made you know I mean they had to come out to the statement saying that they've never been involved in bribes, and that's when some of the documents surfaced and the SEC had to go deeper. Otherwise, this would not have come out. It's just because of this them looking for additional uh, global investments. This thing had to come out.
Thank you so much, Kiran. I hope I will be able to make people understand this whole saga. And so winter session's gone anyways now, down the
Yeah,
drain. So our money is going to get wasted, taxpayers' money. Thank you so much, Kiran. Thank you so
that was a
much.
pleasure talking to you, Bhaiya. Thank you.
Same here. Same here.
Cheers.